Hello and welcome back to Morrissey and Wine. My name's George.
I'm Chris.
So I'm a newspaper journalist based in East Midlands of the UK, and Chris, we bill him as the super fan. I'm supposed to be the more sober, journalistic kind of voice, and Chris is the guy who's at the front of the queue for every Morrissey gig that you can get to.
So the monkey and the organ grinder, is that?
I've never understood which is supposed to be better. Is it the monkey or the organ grinder? And what the hell is an organ grinder?
We will never know. We'll never know, will we?
So, as the title implies, it's Morrissey and wine, and we have 2 bottles of wine to enjoy today. I've got a white Sauvignon Blanc, and Chris, you've got a red.
Yeah, in this suspicious-looking bottle.
Yeah, as you pointed out earlier, it does look like home brew, but this is been given by our producer, Gary, who's wrapped it in tinfoil so we can do a kind of blind taste test. And I've got the tasting notes, so I'm going to see how good Chris does at tasting that wine. So this month we have a pretty cool interview guest, Dana Gillespie. Now, Dana entered the world of Morrissey just recently with her cover of Spent the Day in Bed, which I really like. And Morrissey himself said that he actually prefers her version to his original cover. Dana is probably the most well-known person that we've had on this podcast. You know,
Standalone person. Yeah.
Independent of Morrissey. You know, she's had a very full life, very interesting character. In fact, I think she went out with David Bowie for about 10 years.
And he wrote a song for her to sing.
Andy Warhol,
which is a great song actually. Yeah,
it's weird because that is actually my favorite my favorite David Bowie song is Andy Warhol.
Okay.
So we've got the interview with Dana. We've got the quiz, which we do every month. This time it is going to be 10 questions, I believe, but it's a slight spin on the quiz.
It is. So this time it's going to be: is this person more famous or less famous than Morrissey? Is that right?
Yes, and that's based on data in the UK. This company called YouGov, it polls people every month, asks them, have you heard of this person? Have you heard of this person? So this is scientific.
I'd never heard of it before. You told me about it, and I put the quiz because I'm quizzing you.
Yes.
Really interesting, actually, to see there's some odd ones in there.
Yes. We're also going to analyse the lyrics of a song, and this time it will be I'm the End of the Family Line, which I believe was on Kill Uncle, wasn't it? I think there'll be some interesting discussions to be had about that. And finally, we're going to have, if you love Morrissey, then you'll love this. Some recommendations of things that we like and we think have some kind of connection to the world of Morrissey. So without further ado...
Let's try your wine.
I'd like to try my wine. Okay, so I've got a Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon is not my favourite. I always think Sauvignon has a kind of... It's like foot kind of smell, taste to it.
Lovely.
I don't know why. It's a bit like they say Hershey's chocolates in America have this same chemical in it that is. I'm sorry if you're eating your dinner, but it has the same chemical that is in vomit.
Really?
This is true, I believe.
Is that what they put on the adverts?
Yeah. And there's something of that about Sauvignon. But anyway,
is that why you chose it? Is it?
Well, no. So I just wanted to try something different.
So you tell me, have a sip and tell me what you're thinking.
I can taste kind of like apple notes. Actually, apple, yeah. Let me try another
a little bit more. So it's a Sauvignon Blanc from South Africa.
Okay.
It's called Stormhawk Pure, and it's in fitting with our wines. It's around £10.
About £10, yeah. I just say, before you tell me what the tastes are, I don't taste any kind of citrusy notes, which is what I was expecting.
Okay.
So that probably means that there's going to have citrusy notes in it. I would say it's quite easy to drink.
Easy to drink. So you've mentioned no citrus, apples, and feet.
And feet, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So apparently there is fruit in there. There is.
That's good.
There is a citrus, unfortunately, fruit in there, and it's gooseberries.
Oh, gooseberries.
I love a gooseberry just as much as I love a snosberry. There's also a subtle grassy tone.
Grassy.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you taste the grass?
I'm just getting a whole lot of apple.
Apple. Let me keep reading. Passion fruit. And then a sort of a clean and crisp finish. Have you tasted that?
Passion fruit, yeah. Clean and crisp, I suppose that's true. Yeah.
Is that only because you've been told?
Yeah, but I don't really eat a lot of passion fruit, so it wouldn't have come to mind.
So what would you pair this with?
How the hell do I know what I'd pair? I'm not a wine expert. Fish, probably. You always pair white wine with fish.
Okay, so it does say perfect with a summer salad.
Yeah.
or seafood dishes. So you can pair it with like a fishy buffet or something.
A nice fishy buffet. Okay, well, why don't you try yours? And I've got your tasting notes here.
Try mine.
So Chris's is called Apothic Red, and it costs around £10, depending on where you buy it. Now, what are you getting from that wine?
It's really sweet, which I like about red wine.
Are you sure it's sweet? Because you say this, Chris. We had an episode where you said, oh, this is a really dry wine, and then you later said, oh, it's really sweet. Are you sure it's sweet?
It's sweet now. It might change.
Okay.
With the atmosphere, George, you know about wine? Do you know about wine? It does change.
No more than you. Okay, so you're saying sweet. Fair enough. There may be something we can read into that in the tasting notes.
Plummy.
Okay.
Cherries, plum.
He's actually doing really well. Yeah, carry on.
Plums and cherries.
I think he's read these notes. Anything else? What about the texture?
It's quite smooth.
Okay.
As opposed to gravelly. There's something else in there. It's almost like cinnamony, like Christmassy sort of taste in there as well. Like a rich, almost going towards mulled wine, I would say.
Okay. It's doing suspicious.
I feel like I'm at the Christmas markets in Manchester. I just paid £10 for a small mug of mulled wine.
And finally, then, what would you pair it with? What kind of dessert? Or even a savoury dish? Because I've got quite a lot of detail in these notes.
Well, I imagine I don't eat cheese, but imagine people would have it with cheese. I'd personally have it with a vegan mushroom Wellington.
Okay. Well, I can tell you, Chris, that you're pretty close to what the tasting notes suggest. So, cherry, you said cherry. Plum, you said plum. You said there is a category of sweetness here, and it says that it has hints of vanilla and mocha. It's a smooth, easy drinking wine. You said it was smooth. And yes, cheese, you can pair it with honey glazed baked camembert with figs if your heart desires.
Figs.
I mean, you wouldn't, but I'm sure you could get some kind of horrible vegan camembert.
Yeah, you can. That tastes like feet too.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's the Apothic Red. A smooth, full-bodied California red wine blend known for its rich flavours. We love Cali, don't we?
We do, yeah. Totally.
So that's our wines, and all that is left to do is to head into the quiz, and I'm looking forward to this one.
Me too.
So let's say cheers, Chris.
Cheers, George.
Cheers to you. Cheers to you at home.
Cheers.
Let's do the quiz. As always, there is the quiz theme music. Shall I...
Well, yes, we should.
I mean, I said I wasn't going to do it. Chris said, oh, why are you not doing it?
That's called Stockholm Syndrome. It's nostalgic now, so go ahead.
Okay, all right. Well, here we go. This is your chance. Grasp the nettle and prove your mettle. There are people out there who know nothing of this trivia. You've wasted all your life, it's quite sad if you stop and think, but never mind that, it's the Morrissey quiz! Hey. Oh, do that every time.
So once is enough, George, okay. We're not going to indulge you a second time.
Thank you for bearing with me on that one, everybody at home. It's just a charitable act you have to do. You have to listen to me do a quiz theme song. Now, this quiz is a bit different, isn't it? Tell us about the idea.
Yeah, it is different. So this is u.gov, is that right?
No, YouGov.
YouGov, yeah, YouGov. It's a website and it lists in the UK the sort of celebrity rankings, is that right? So how famous you are. So at the top, you've got like the Pope and
Paul McCartney,
yeah. People like that. Boris Johnson. At the bottom, you've got people like, I suppose us.
Christopher Biggins. I think he's probably quite famous.
No, Biggins is quite famous. Yeah.
So YouGov is a polling website. Now, this is all UK data. I mean, the majority of our audience is in the UK. We do have listeners all over the world. I think the second most is in America. This is UK polling data, and YouGov do polls of all different kinds. But we found this, didn't we? These popularity rankings. So essentially, Chris is going to ask me, is this person more or less famous than Morrissey in the UK? And I'm going to have to guess.
Yeah, so you say sort of higher or lower. It's a bit play your cards right, higher or lower, isn't it? Are they more famous?
Yeah.
And there's no Brucey bonuses, though.
No Brucey bonus, what a shame.
He's died. So Are you ready to get into the quiz?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Yeah.
Okay. So, question number 1. So, is Morrissey more famous than Tom Holland?
Is Morrissey more famous than Tom Holland? Tom Holland, of course, the actor from Spider-Man, I believe. Was it?
I think he did one of the reincarnations of Spider-Man.
Yeah, they never stopped making Spider-Man films.
No, it makes you feel old. I think I'm quite young, but I'm like the 3rd round of new films by Spider-Man now. That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
I think Morrissey's more famous than Tom Holland.
Final answer?
Yeah. Correct.
Well done. First question right. So Tom Holland was number 579. And sorry, I should say at the start, Morrissey in the list is 595. So he's 579. Okay, so number 2, is Morrissey more famous than Bjork?
Is Morrissey more famous than Bjork? Well, Bjork is a niche artist, in my opinion. I mean, Morrissey is as well, I suppose. But despite that, I think a lot of people have heard of Bjork. And if you say Bjork, an image comes into your head, I think, for a lot of people. So I'm going to say Bjork is more famous than Morrissey. Wrong, really? Really?
So Morrissey is more famous than Bjork.
Yeah. Wow. So I got that wrong. That's quite remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So next one is Bond. So is Morrissey more famous than Timothy Dalton?
No. Timothy Dalton is more famous than Morrissey. Thank you.
Well done. Yeah. So Timothy Dalton was 571.
I mean, someone who's played James Bond is basically equivalent to like one of Jesus' disciples or something. It's just something that people know, all over the world.
Yeah, true. So, okay, question number 4. Is Morrissey more famous than Liza Minnelli?
Liza Minnelli is uber famous, I think. Saying that, I think she's more famous in America than she is in the UK. She's certainly very famous in the gay community. God, this is a tricky one. I think this is UK data. I think Liza Minnelli is more famous than Morrissey.
So yes or no? So Liza Minnelli is not more. Yeah. So
you tried to clarify it, and then you made it more complicated.
So you're saying that no, Morrissey is not more famous than Liza Minnelli.
I think so.
Confused.
I feel like I'm being quizzed by Rumpelstiltskin. Okay, so I got that right.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, move on. This is quite confusing, actually. I can't cope with this. Right, question number 5. Is Morrissey more famous than Gillian Murphy? Just say yes or no, please, because it makes it easier for me.
Is Morrissey more famous than... Isn't it Killian?
I don't know.
It's not Gillian, that's for sure. It starts with a C.
Okay, is Morrissey more famous than...
The guy from 28 Days Later. Is Morrissey more famous than him? Yes, Morrissey is more famous than him.
Well done. Yeah, that's right. So he was number 682 in the list, in the ranking.
That's like, number 1 is like the most famous in the UK. 682, 682nd most famous.
Yeah, and Morrissey's 595, but it is a long list.
I mean, that's quite remarkable. This is very up-to-date data, by the way. They do this every quarter of the year. And, Cillian Murphy, or however you say his name, I mean, he's in Peaky Blinders. He's a big deal, and he's still not more famous than Morrissey.
Yeah, so it's a lot of people, isn't there? There's a lot of people that are on the list. It's massive. If you go down, you can keep going down to 1001 and you'll know who they are. Yeah. It's not about, most people would still know that.
Okay.
So question number 6. Is Morrissey more famous than, so yes or no, is Morrissey more famous than Nancy Sinatra?
Yes. No. Oh. That's like a bolt from the blue. God came down and said, no, George, think again. Nancy Sinatra is, of course, the daughter of one of the most famous men in the world, American royalty. And boots are made for walking, enunciate, George.
Walking.
Is really famous. So I think, no, Morrissey is not more famous than Nancy Sinatra. Wrong. So Morrissey is more famous than Nancy Sinatra.
Yeah, so he is more famous than Nancy Sinatra.
You know what? That's probably true, actually, because you show people these days a picture of Nancy Sinatra, a lot of them wouldn't even know who that is.
Uncultured Philistines wouldn't know who that is.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one, is Morrissey more famous than, what were his last words? Trevor McDonald.
A fitting tribute to the man. Trevor McDonald, of course, the ITV newsreader of
legend.
Many years. Is he still around?
Well, around here?
No, like, has he passed away?
He hasn't passed.
No, okay. Trevor McDonald has got to be more famous than Morrissey because he was on people's TV sets every day for decades, wasn't he? So I think, no, Morrissey is not more famous than Trevor McDonald. Yes.
Yeah, so Trevor McDonald is more famous than Morrissey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rumpelstiltskin.
You need to say yes or no because you're confusing me a lot. Okay. So, question number 8.
Yeah.
Is Morrissey more famous than Rupert Grint?
Rupert Grint, Ron Weasley, of course, and he shall forever be known as that. I mean, gosh, a lot of people saw the Harry Potter films. A lot of people are obsessed with them. It has a massive...
Did a lot of people see the Harry Potter films?
Yeah. Did you not know that? Have you heard of the Harry Potter film?
It's about a wizard, isn't it?
I think so. They have a massive, massive global cultural reach. So I think Rupert Grint has got to be more famous than Morrissey. So ask me in your weird riddle way.
Is Morrissey more famous than Rupert Grint?
No. Morrissey's more famous than Rupert Grint?
Apparently. I was shocked by that, to be honest, because, people are obsessed with that Harry Potter guy, aren't they?
What if it was like a fictional character? If they said Ron Weasley...
That's different.
I think, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, it's nice, different, it's unusual.
Yeah, I suppose that's like Harry Potter and Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Okay, so question number 9. I've not been keeping track, to be honest.
I haven't either.
But you're not doing too badly considering it's you, because normally you're awful at the quiz.
Yeah.
So question number 9. Is Morrissey more famous than Sean Wallace? Do you know who Sean Wallace is?
I don't really. Is he a comedian?
No.
Right, well, I think I'm getting a hint here that Morrissey might be more famous. Sean Wallace. I'm sure there's people...
I can tell you who it is because that might help.
Okay.
So it's on The Chase.
Okay, so Sean Wallace. Sean Wallace is on TV screens at a mainstream channel at a peak time at least once a week in the UK. And I think The Chase is like the most famous quiz show.
It's pretty big, isn't it?
In the UK.
So I'll phrase the question again.
Yeah.
Is Morrissey more famous than Sean Wallace?
Yes.
He is more famous.
Yeah, because he's been around for longer.
No.
No.
Sean Wallace, the person you haven't really heard of until I mentioned the programme, he's more famous than Morrissey.
Wow.
So all you have to do is
TV.
Just go on television and you're more famous than Morrissey.
Yeah.
Question number 10, bringing it back to the music industry, a sort of a similar, sort of a contemporary to Morrissey in some ways.
I don't know if you can hear, I don't know if you can hear that at home, but the hail is chucking down on this studio.
That's going to be very atmospheric for the American fans.
Yes.
Yeah, hearing the rain. So can I carry on?
Sorry, Chris. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, stop now, isn't it? Question 10. Is Morrissey more famous than Jarvis Cocker?
Oh, okay. Well, Morrissey and Jarvis Cocker must be pretty close on the scale because they occupy very similar places in our culture. Interestingly, Jarvis Cocker said that when he saw Morrissey on Top of the Pops for the first time, he thought, crap, now there's already an awkward northern pop star. He's stolen my opportunity. Just goes to show there's always room if you've got the talent. I love Pulp. It's got to be a close call, but considering that Morrissey was famous before Pulp, and it therefore has been going around for longer, I'm going to say, yes, Morrissey is more famous than Jarvis Cocker. Yeah.
Well done. Yes, he is more famous. So that was the quiz. I think you did quite well, actually, to be fair.
Yeah.
So Morrissey, as I said before, is at 595, and that's in between Val Kilmer and Eddie the Eagle.
Eddie the Eagle.
Yeah, do you know who they are?
Eddie the Eagle was a winter sports star, wasn't he? Skier, I think.
And Val?
Val Kilmer.
Not Nanny Val.
It is Val Kilmer, you said, isn't it?
Kilmer, yeah.
He's an action movie star.
Yeah. He was in Top Gun.
Yeah, wasn't he in Friends as a cameo? Was that Jean-Claude Van Damme? Can't remember.
Same person, isn't it?
So I did pretty well. How did you do at home? If you're in the WhatsApp chat, let us know. Normal quiz service will resume next time, but we just thought that might be a quirky one off. And check out those rankings. It's really interesting. I don't know if there's an equivalent thing in America, but very, very fascinating. So next, we are going to talk to Nanny Val.
Yes.
So Nanny Val, unfortunately, she can't come into the studio this month because she's a little bit under the weather. So we're going to have to do the interview over a video call. So slight change in the running order for us, but never mind. We have asked our Patreon members for suggestions for Nanny Val to react to. She's going to let us know which one she chose. So cheers to you, Chris.
Cheers, George.
Cheers to you at home. And let's say hello to Nanny Val. So welcome back to Morrissey and Wine Podcast, Nan. How are you doing?
I'm okay, my love, thanks.
Good.
I was a bit off colour when I came back from Spain, but I think I've recovered now.
Good. Yeah, I know you couldn't come into the studio, but it's absolutely fine. We've got you here on a video call. So as usual, our Patreon subscribers have suggested a raft of songs for you to listen to. I think there was about a dozen. And you've chosen this time which song?
I've chosen In the Future When All's Well.
Okay. And that was Monica's choice, I think.
I don't know. You didn't give me I didn't know whose I was choosing. You only gave me the list of the songs.
Yes, I believe it was Monica. So I always make a playlist for you and you listen to them all. But this particular one jumped out at you. Why was that?
To be honest, a lot of them were earlier Smiths ones. I listened to everything and I tried to find a storyline between all of them, but they were all a bit gloomy and depressing. I want something a little bit more uplifting. And I thought this was more me. This was something I could relate to. So I like this one.
So this is from Morrissey's 2006 album, Ringleader of the Tormentors. Believe it was a single because the single cover is Morrissey with an ice cream in Rome, I think.
Yes. Yeah, I believe it is.
So interesting that you say it's optimistic. I suppose it is, but there's a few kind of funny Morrissey lines in it that are a little bit more cynical, aren't there? You know, like living longer than I had expected, something must have gone right, that sort of thing. No, he doesn't say expected. He says living longer than I had intended.
Yes.
So, but overall, you felt it was an optimistic song.
I did, but I often try to look at it from a new perspective. To be honest, when I first chose it, I looked, as you said, sometimes it's wise to do. I looked into Wikipedia and I thought, I think I've chosen it. This is a bad choice because, sorry to refer to the notes, but he'd said something like it was, it reflects Morris's philosophy that death and the hereafter is preferable to the miserable reality of human existence. And I thought, oh dear, but it wouldn't what I saw, and it's not what I came across. And obviously, everybody's got their own take on what Morrissey says. So this is only mine.
Yeah. Okay, so it's all about, isn't it? Morrissey saying, I play this sad game called In the Future When All's Well. It's almost as if that's what keeps him going, isn't it, in this song?
Yeah, it is. But my take on it, I think Morrissey is making a promise to someone, and someone he loves, and he's promising in the future they will have this future. They'll have health and wealth, and above all, openly be together, and to live peacefully, which he describes as the long, long sleep.
Okay.
So this is where I'm coming from. This is what I believe, and even now, what he's doing currently, putting everything up for sale, all the Smiths' interest in that, it could be him clearing the decks and going forward to a more normal life. You know, something that just with someone he loves, and to spend a happy. You know, he's a senior now, senior citizen, isn't he? Is he 66, 65, 66?
I think he's 66. Yeah, I mean, I don't know for definite, but I think 66.
So
yeah.
he would get a bus pass if he was still in Manchester.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you do refer to this romantic element to the song because, in fact, when I looked at the lyrics properly ahead of this interview, this chat, I noticed that there's a line that says "paired off, poured till I can barely stand it." So he's in it. I'd never noticed that before because it's hard to hear in the song. But he's saying, in the future, not only will I have good health and wealth, I'll also be paired off.
Yes, And another line, which I think is quite significant, usually people say, I'll stand up and be counted. But I think he's saying to his lover in this case, I'll lie down by your side. I'll lie down and be counted, because it's a different significance. I think he's openly saying that eventually we're going to have a good life. I didn't expect to live this long. I didn't expect to be as wealthy and as, content as I am, but I'm promising you this life together. I believe.
Well, I think, yes. I mean, because we think of Morrissey in that classic kind of 80s, 90s version where he was celibate and, and he would say it's not by choice, but I just am celibate, and he's very cynical about romantic relationships. And he'll say, I don't want the picture above the television. That's my nightmare, But there are songs like this where you see this other side to him, don't you? And actually, at heart, maybe he sometimes does want that classic romantic relationship.
I'm sure he does, and I think he may have already found it. I think he's forward planning now. His retirement. It's very hard for anyone of his fame to give up fame and stop touring, as we know with many other leading musicians and singers. But he may have it in mind. It may be something he would like to do, because he's had such a hard life with the way he's been treated by everybody, by the media and by people that were professionals around him, all sorts, And I think maybe he is looking forward to a more peaceful, happy life. And I think the poem, maybe it's all that on stage. He has to put on a persona. He has to pretend he's enjoying all this. I think someone like him, a very private person, would hate having bear hugs and people kissing him that he wouldn't find very savory. Sometimes I'm sure there are attractive people there, but not always. That was my sort of take on being poured.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I also always try to do a bit more research to think, am I totally wrong, or is there some possibility I'm right? And what made me think that maybe I am on the right lines, the B-side of this particular single, when it was released, is Christian Dior. And in that one, he's saying, he sings of him having wasted his life in fashion when he could have devoted his time to women, drink, drugs, or even Neapolitan rent boys. And he goes on to say, he's using Dior as a metaphor for himself, because he goes on to say, he says, when you look at me, failure is all that you see. I discipline my days just like Christian Dior. As much as I'm living a lie, I'm living a life of someone who's not me, and I want to live this other life, So
I think that, well, Morrissey, I mean, because sometimes people say, oh, every song that Morrissey writes, it's not always about him. Sometimes it's a character study or a vignette, and it's not. But I think really 90% of the time, he's making some comment about his life, even if it's not explicitly,
Absolutely. That's from everything I've been doing with you, everything I've looked at, there's always a part of him within it. Something you can isolate and think, that is truly him saying that. That is how he feels about that particular subject. As I say in this one, I think it's like a promissory note. This is he's committed himself to someone in the long term, And I hope it's so. I'd like him to be happy and contented in his autumn of his years.
Well, we think he's probably not in a relationship at the moment, because on the stage just 2 or 3 months ago, he made a point of saying, I'm still single. I'm still available, I think he said. So who knows? But in this song, I really like this line near the end when he says that the future is ended by a long, long sleep. To me, it feels like he's saying his whole life has been asleep, and then now the future is opening up to him. I don't know if you felt that it was the same.
More or less, but although I felt it was more that he loves his bed, for example, and he loves rest, and he loves being, just relaxing, watching television, etc. So I think for him, if he ever thought of retiring, it would be that sort of relaxed contented life, like a long sleep, but just not having to rush to, go on trains or buses or planes or whatever, just to, do whatever he wanted to do on that particular day with whoever he was with.
Mm. And so he also says in this song, confront what you are afraid of in the future when all's well. I just wanted to ask you about that, because I know you've always said to me, if there's like a bang in the night or a weird sound, go and look at it, because it will never be as scary as what you think it is. So are you a fan of confronting what you're afraid of?
Always, yeah. I can't ignore if something's annoying me, whatever it is, I need to face it. And, even in a relationship, whatever it is, if I think I've upset someone or they've upset me, I need to talk it through. And in this, he's asking the other person to, if he's a will, sorry, I can't quite see it. What does he say? If you will, stand up.
He says, let me just look at the lyrics here. Hold me closely if your will allows it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what, you think that's linked to the confronting what you're afraid of type of thing?
Well, if they have been if he is someone he's been in a long-term relationship and they come to this point, they both have to stand up in front of the world and say, guess what? We're together, we always have been, and we're happy. And this is our life. But it's been hard for him to do that, because he's got both men and women that love him, madly idolize him, just to sustain his popularity. He's probably had to keep a cover on many of the things he's done and said in his life,
And so what did you think about the musical side of this song? Because it's a Jesse Tobias track, isn't it?
Right. I didn't wrote that down, I don't think. But I like the livelier music. Some of the others, as I said, the earlier ones, the Smiths ones, they were a little bit too dirge-like for me. They weren't, and him being very bleak, the things he was saying. So in this present time, I needed cheering up. I didn't need to dwell on stuff like that. So this pleased me because I liked the music. I really enjoyed it and thought it was great.
Well, go ahead.
No, go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, I've got the Nanny Val scoreboard here, but I just have to get up and get it because I forgot to prepare it right next to the computer. So just give me a second.
The other thing about this one, sorry.
I can still hear you.
Yes. I said the other thing about this one, he does lovely little trills and falsettos and things all the way through it, which I liked.
Yes. It's it's quite a varied album, because you've also, a lot of the songs have this kind of sound of this song, but then there's Dear God Please Help Me. I don't know if you've heard that one.
I think we may have done it once before. I'm not sure if we analysed that one. I can't remember.
We may have done. That's a very
I may have listened to it as when it was proposed, and maybe I didn't choose that. Can't quite remember.
Yes. Well, just for completeness, here's the scoreboard. Doesn't quite fit on the camera.
No, we'll have to do a smaller version, I think.
Yeah, but I just thought you could give me a score for the three, and I can tell you roughly where it is on the leaderboard. So the first category is lyrics out of 10. Yeah,
I like lyrics a lot, so probably a 10.
Okay, that's brilliant. Music.
Yeah, love the music. I won't go 10s on everything. I'll say 9, but I did really like it.
Okay. And voice.
Similarly, his voice, it was at least a 9. It was lovely.
Okay, so that gives us 28. Yeah, 28, which puts it it puts it in joint second place, next to Once I Saw the River Clean and When You Open Your Legs.
Right, there you go.
So it still hasn't knocked Bonfire off the top spot, but
unless he released a new one that I'd never heard. As I said, it means a lot to me because I think it meant a lot to him, and it was such a significant part of all our lives, so I'd find it hard. Probably if I recounted that one, I'd probably put it all 10s across the across the board. So yeah.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there, Nan. Sorry you couldn't make it into studio this time, but I think this is just as good. And we'll see you again next month.
Okay, darling. Thank you. Bye.
And now me and Chris are going to analyse the lyrics of I'm the End of the Family Line. So let's go into that.
With no complication, 15 generations of mine.
With no complications, 15 generations of mine. It's an interesting start to the song, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it really is. And then all honouring nature.
Yes, and then this very camp line, until I arrived with incredible style. You can almost imagine Charles Hawtrey or Kenneth Williams arriving and saying something like that. It also reminds you of, the famous Oscar Wilde quote, I have nothing to declare but my genius.
Yes, yeah.
Theatrical kind of swish. Now, this has a particular resonance, I think, for any gay fans of Morrissey. And this, as I say, Morrissey the Smiths, this is a Morrissey song, of course, from Kill Uncle. You are, unless you have heterosexual siblings, who they would have to be men, of course, for the family name to pass down traditionally, then you are the end of your family line.
Or just people who choose now to not have children, which is quite a lot of people as well, isn't it?
Yes, of course, the birth rate is falling massively in a lot of Western countries.
It is, yeah.
So a lot of us will find ourselves at the end of the family line. And I think Morrissey does this sort of thing very well, where he takes what could be considered a tragic situation and turns it into a camp, heroic thing to be proud of and to own, doesn't he? He owns the concept. Any lines that sort of stick out for you from this song?
Yeah, so I think that is the sort of the all honouring nature is quite powerful, a powerful line, and that could be because you're not going to have children for many reasons. But for me, this song always takes me to a photo that I've got, a family photo, which is me, my dad, my granddad, and my great granddad. I'm a baby, and there's the sort of 4 generations there rather than the 15. But it does make me think of that and think, well, they all did that, and I suppose I could have kids if I wanted to, but it's not really something I thought about. Whereas for them, and maybe when this song came out, or when Morrissey was my age or slightly younger, it maybe have even been even harder then to admit to doing this as a thing, because I think a lot of people now, whether you can have kids or not, don't always have children. But it makes me think of that photo, and it's quite powerful. But also, the very sort of Oscar Wilde line of "Until I arrived" with incredible style.
Yeah,
that's such a great line, because you're sort of a bit self-deprecating at the start, saying you're not natural, you're not honouring nature, but you're sort of better than that in a way, because you have incredible style.
Yeah,
that's what it makes me think of in this first part.
And I think honouring nature. So all of his descendants honoured nature. That means that Morrissey is dishonouring nature. This is either through not having children, or perhaps by not being heterosexual. And it reminds me of that line in I Know It's Over when he says, love is natural and real, but not for such as you and I, my love. Yeah. Which could have several meanings. You could probably do a whole seminar on the different meanings, but one of them could be he's talking about homosexual love, and it's not that's Yeah. That's one possibility.
Yeah, I've taken that line as being meaning that as well.
Yeah. I think I got that from you, actually, because I think you told me that once, and so that's your point, really. No baby pulls screaming into this screaming world by chance or whim or even love. So he's saying, I think there he is hinting that there is some joy to be found in having children. Chance and whim and love, they're positive concepts. Yeah. And he's saying that's not going to happen to me.
I think the sort of by chance or by whim is almost slightly negative, and then the sort of or even love, because love is like I think that's how I take it. I take it that by chance or whim, it's like meh, it happened because whatever, one night stand, or it just happens, doesn't it? When people, as Dana Gillespie says, are horizontal together, which is quite a nice way of saying it. But if that happens, but then or even love, it's almost like well, mostly it happens because of this. But even love, that's the extreme. When you would want to imagine that most babies came out of love. That isn't real. That isn't the real world, is it? So that's how I take that line.
And he also, the other half of this stanza is he's saying, no baby pulled screaming out into this
Searing world.
Well, in the lyrics here it says seeming world, but I think it's seething.
It is seething. I think
it is seething with the
Seething
th. So he's talking about that quite common notion in literature and stuff of, the baby is born screaming. It's a horrible thing in this estimation to be brought into the world, and I think he's kind of implying here that he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to bring a life into this world because it's not going to be a happy place. It hasn't been a happy place for him.
And then sort of going on to the next part of the song where he mentions the family tree hacked into decline. That's quite Morrissey. It's very, very visual to think of that hacking the tree.
Yes.
But then also the sort of, what do you think about the lines, and I'm spared the pain of ever saying goodbye? Because I think that's quite interesting because I suppose you're not saying goodbye to your children. That's obviously...
Well, yeah, because I always got confused by this line because he still has to say goodbye to the people that are older than him.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well, yeah. I always think that too.
But I suppose he's saying if he's the last one left, there's no one who's going to stick around behind him. When he dies, there'll be no one left that are going to remain here while he passes away. I suppose that's what he's saying, but it's a little bit muddled, I think.
Yeah, and I think towards the end of the song, it sort of ties the knot a little bit to sort of confirm that it's, when he sort of says the decision is mine, it's almost like this isn't because I can't have children or because, for whatever reason, it's that I'm deciding I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of then... Because this song could be from the start, it could be that, there could be a valid reason why someone can't have children. There's a lot of misery in that. They might sing about that. But I think the end of the song then confirms that actually this is Morrissey's choice. He doesn't, he could have children, he could do that, but he doesn't want to do that for some of the reasons he mentions above.
Yes. And we know, thanks to Morrissey's autobiography, which is called Autobiography, that
classic,
a Penguin classic, that he did go on to have a relationship with a woman. I think she was called Tina, if I'm not mistaken, and they considered having children. So that, I love Lily Allen. Can't stop mentioning her. She used to be in the papers a lot for some of the more provocative things that she says, and she would always say, "I'm not a politician. I'm a pop star, and I'm allowed to change my mind." And pop stars do change their mind. At this point in his career, the Kill Uncle era, he had obviously decided that he didn't want to have children. Then, it's early 90s, I think. So late 90s, early 2000s, he's in a position where he might even do it, So these people that we admire and that we really like their beliefs and ideas, they can change, can't they?
Yeah.
They're malleable. Do you think this... I find this quite a inspiring song.
Absolutely. I think that I definitely think so. I think I've got a lot of friends, and probably you have too, at our sort of age, a bit older than me, George, but our sort of around about age, where it is the time where you need to make a decision, especially for girls, women, it's more so. But I suppose it is, this song almost gives you, like a lot of Morrissey songs to me, give me the freedom and make me sort of affirm my own feelings to think that, well, it's okay not to have children. It's okay to live this sort of life. I haven't got to apologise. I've got an aunt who didn't have kids, and you almost feel like you can't talk about it because it's too, it's just never said. But why should that be the case if it shouldn't be such a big deal, should it?
Yeah, you're right. I wonder, for some people, this might be quite, rather than an inspiring song that affirms your life decisions and stuff, it could be a kind of haunting song.
That's true.
Because he's hacking the tree into decline. Yeah. He's dishonouring nature. All these things can be read in quite a negative way. Because do we have a duty to honour nature? As humans, that's a question you could ask. I think Kant might have some thoughts on that, because he was very interested in duty. Do we have a duty to procreate? Do we have a duty to look at the world and think, I don't want to bring more people into this because it's not a very nice place, increasingly so. Or
even that there's, even if you don't think of the places being particularly bad, there's a lot of people generally. So it's not a bad world, but we don't need that many more.
Yes.
And it's not like we're short of people, is it?
No.
What how would you feel about this song? It's one of your sort of top Morrissey songs, or?
Well, you have to be in a certain mood for it, I think. It's a slow sort of atmospheric song. I mean, it's on Kill Uncle, and I really like that whole record.
Yeah.
And yes, I suppose I do quite like it because, as I always say, I like the autobiographical Morrissey songs. And this is, I mean, people like to say, oh, sometimes Morrissey could be a character and whatever. I suppose like with something like Tony the Pony, then yeah, sure, he's a character. But with something like this, it's pretty obvious to me that it's how he feels about the world.
Yeah, this is how I agree.
Yeah, so I do like it for that reason. What about you? Is it one of your favourites or least favourites?
It is, yeah. And I think for me, it is more of a positive song. It gives me a bit of a, makes me feel comfortable about maybe not having children if I don't have children. Yeah, that's how I feel about the song.
Okay. Well, that concludes our discussion of I'm the End of the Family Line from Kilt Uncle. And next we have our interview with Dana Gillespie. So just to mention that the full interview will be available on our Patreon page. That's about £4.50, $5 a month, depending on where you are in the UK. You get a variety of benefits. So you get Chris and George off mic, which is a bonus monthly episode where me and Chris talk about a few different topics in depth and a bit more honestly, a bit more detail. So that's a monthly bonus episode. As I say, you get the full unedited interviews with our guests. And if you sign up, you can get the back catalogue of those. So there's like Stephen Street, Mark Nevin, various other people whose full interviews are on there. You can join the exclusive members only WhatsApp chat, which has about 100 of us in there. So they're all listeners of the podcast and they all love Morrissey and the Smiths a lot. And there's a lot of good knowledge in that group. You know, the best places to go near the gigs or who is this cover star from this Morrissey single, or people will have the answers in there. About every half a year, we send out free pin badges to our Patreon subscribers. And we'll
got to dust off the machine, haven't I?
Yes, Chris is just about to make a new batch and we send those all over the world, totally included in your Patreon membership. And finally, you can choose the song that Nanny Val reacts to. And obviously today's suggestion came from a Patreon subscriber. And because there's not loads of Patreon members, it's quite likely that your song will get picked. And Nanny Val will always listen to it because I make a playlist for her from all the suggestions. So she will listen to it. Now, the interview with Dana Gillespie. So Dana is a very prolific artist, right? I mean, she's released dozens of albums.
Yeah, really excited by this one. I think she's probably one of the heavyweights we've had on the podcast in her own right. Had a really interesting career, knows so many people. She, had an early relationship with Bowie.
They went out for about 10 years. That's David Bowie.
David Bowie, yeah, not the other one. He wrote a song for her as well called Andy Warhol.
Yes, and that's my favourite David Bowie song, actually. She's known loads of people because I want to ask her about some of the people that she's met in the past. Notably, she did a film with Kenneth Williams. Yes. And basically she's met everyone who's everyone. Yeah, she's released dozens of albums. She's doing more blues these days. And the reason why we're interviewing her is because she obviously recently covered Spent the Day in Bed.
Yes. And
Morrissey said that it was, he preferred her version to his.
Is that the first time Morrissey's ever admitted something like that?
It might be,
When do you hear that? It's very humble for Morrissey.
Yeah. So it's a great honour for Dana to come on the podcast and talk to us. And I mean that, to give us her time. So let's head into that now. Let's see what Dana's got to say. So I'll say cheers to you, Chris.
Cheers, George.
Cheers to you at home. And let's say hello to Dana. Dana Gillespie, thank you so much for joining us on the Morrissey and Wine podcast. It's a real honour. We really appreciate it.
Well, I'm amazed. I didn't know he had that there was a podcast for Morrissey. So I'm being educated just by being here.
So we'll kick off with our questions. And the first one is the key one, I suppose, as to why you've joined us on this podcast. We wanted to know why you wanted to cover Spent the Day in Bed and what it was about the song that appealed to you.
Well, the lyrics for a start. I mean, it's always good to spend the day in bed. And it just happened that just at that time, the news was so awful. Mind you, it's got even worse now. So, every word rang true in that song. The song was actually suggested to me by a friend of Morrissey's called Tris Penner. And Tris was the co-producer of this album. And the album is called First Love. And I must say, I never thought I'd be doing an album of cover songs, although there's one of my own on there. Although Bowie did one with pin-ups, but it was not normally my way. I've always done songs I've written myself. But if I'm not going to do somebody else's song, then it's got to be so good that I wished I'd written it myself. And in this case, I wished I'd written Spent the Day in Bed. And there's a video out, but maybe you've seen it, of me lolling in bed, of course. I think there are 2 versions, perhaps.
Yeah, it's the one with the breaking news imagery, isn't it? And you in the bed.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Well, there's one where I start off in bed, in my own bed, and I'm chatting away, and then it goes to me performing it live at the Temple of Art and Music. And then there's another one that Fretsaw Records made, which is sort of more kind of bombs and horrible things going on. I think it's got bombs. I only saw it once. I don't really watch the screens too much.
Dana, I just wanted to ask, when did you first hear about the Smiths and Morrissey, and what was your first impression?
Well, I've got to be honest and true and say that I didn't really know the music at all. In fact, because I'm a blues singer, so although the First Love album is not blues, I have a bluesy voice, and I've been doing blues since 1980. So I can't say that I really knew anything about them before this song. But then I did a gig, where was it? At the Crawdaddy Club, and Morrissey came along. This was, I can't remember, last year sometime. And my piano player immediately burst in, Dino Baptiste, and said, "Oh yeah, Morrissey, yeah, you perform with a daffodil in your trousers or something." I had no idea what he was talking about. I think Morrissey looked a bit nonplussed by it as well. So I then looked at a few quite interesting videos, and I liked his kind of quirkiness. He's not like other performers. And the one thing in life is you've got to be different, and you've got to be yourself. And he is different.
I understand, and obviously you don't believe everything you read in the papers, but I did read an article that you and he met after you did the song. Was that true, and how did that go?
Well, that came about through Tris Penner, actually. He'd said to Tris he'd like to meet me, especially as he liked, I think he said, but I don't want to be misquoted, but I think he said he preferred my version to his version, which is very flattering and nice. And it's, as a songwriter myself, it's always nice when somebody covers your songs. So Tris fixed up the meeting, because they're apparently in touch with each other weekly on email. So we met at the, well, I used to call it the Hyde Park Hotel. It's in just at the top of Knightsbridge, but it's changed its name, so I haven't a clue what it's called now. I'm old school, but it used to be. It's a lovely hotel. And we met for tea. How civilized. And I don't think we actually drank tea, but we met at tea time. And I found him charming and lovely and extremely nice.
You mentioned that Morrissey preferred your cover to his original song. Why do you think that was? And did he expand on that at all?
No, he didn't. But I know that my version is very good. I was very lucky. I had although the musicians were my blues band, they're all so talented. They don't just play blues. And I think we did a really good version. And using the harpsichord in the beginning is a bit like, who was it that had that hit Golden Brown? Both of you are probably too young to remember it, actually.
Was it the Stranglers?
No, I can't remember who it was, but it's unusual to have a kind of a harpsichord thing. So they were really good musicians. And of course, it wasn't just Tris Penner who was the co-producer. It was Mark Armand who co-produced it. So I was very lucky to have these guys. And it's made me think I should probably listen to more Morrissey songs. But as I said, I'm known as a blues singer. So people would not expect me to do Spent the Day in Bed at a blues concert. I can't even do the song that Bowie wrote for me, Andy Warhol. Well, I can, but every time, if it's a serious blues festival, like 3 days ago, they wouldn't like it. So I have to stick to the genre that they want.
Did you want to ask Dana about Mystique? I think you've got a question.
I think another thing that sort of relates to Morrissey in a way is you spent some time. I've listened to your autobiography audiobook. Just over really, really, really interesting. Actually, I listened to it over the last couple of weeks, and I know you spent some time in Mystique when you were younger. and up until now, I think you've gone quite often, and you met Princess Margaret there. The reason I ask is because Morrissey's views on the royals is quite well known. There's another album of the Smiths.
He doesn't like them.
The Queen is Dead. So I just wondered how you, obviously actually meeting them, unlike Morrissey, who hasn't met them I don't think so. What your opinion is of the royals?
Well, you see, I don't think people, you can't choose who you're born. I mean, poor old Prince William and the young Louis. I mean, they're born into this long line of dynasty. It's history. You can't fuck around with history. You can't change history. So, the Queen did a lot of good. People who weren't even royalists were sad when she died, because all she did all her life was going out to do good. Okay, people are jealous, they're living in what seems like a big house. But I mean, when I was there with my band performing, I started this blues festival and ran it for 20 years. And we did once perform, and Prince William and Kate were dancing in front of us. They're just like anyone else. They happen to be born into a richer family. So I don't think one should be jealous, or what can they do if they're born? You can't sort of say, well, fuck, I'm getting out of here. They got nowhere to go. You have to fulfill in life the role that you are given. Just as if you're born with one leg or blind, you have to go through with it. So I don't really agree with him on that. And I also think that somehow there's something that holds Britain together, because you look at all the countries that don't have a monarch or some sort of figurehead, and they're usually at war, or there's some awful, ghastly dictator doing far worse things. So I don't really agree with him on that. And Princess Margaret, if you've read my or heard my memoirs, she was very funny lady, and it wasn't an easy life being the sister of the Queen, because she couldn't actually do the things she wanted to do. She might, obviously, she's having probably a better time than perhaps if she'd have been born in a council house or council flat with 10 people all squeezed into one room. But I am of the school of thought that you have to deal with the cards you are given with. And I'm not pissed off with anyone who's richer than me or poorer than me or better than me or younger, whatever. You just get on with dealing with yourself. So I wouldn't say down with the royals, because you've got them in so many countries. And what is the alternative? Look at America. I mean, I don't know how Morrissey feels about what's going on in America, but I personally feel past the bucket.
I think his band have been on stage with a T-shirt "Fuck Trump," so I think we know what he thinks about Trump. But I mean, your autobiography, "Weren't Born a Man," 2021 it came out, I think. Yeah. I think a lot of what comes out in there is very optimistic. He seemed very optimistic, and I really appreciated that about the book. I just have a question, because when researching you, I noticed you did a film, Hound of the Baskervilles.
Yes.
I didn't watch all of it, to be honest. But
it's unwatchable.
I didn't say that to you, but
I can though.
And in that film, you starred alongside Kenneth Williams. I just wondered if you spent any time with Kenneth Williams off set, because he's personally one of my heroes. So
well, sadly, do you know, a lot of people, I mean, the roster of well-known British actors in that film was really long. Mm-hmm. But I only really had scenes with, he's dead now. Well, actually, they're all dead now, I think, most of them. Yeah, they're all dead. Peter Cook, Dudley Moore, Hugh Griffiths, who played my husband, only he said you couldn't, he was my lover, who was sort of an old pickled red nose. And the one I had the most fun with actually was Dudley Moore, who spent our scenes with his nose stuck down my cleavage. And, you know, he was so funny that, you know, we just were in hysterics. But sadly, I never was on the set when Kenneth Williams was on. And, you know, he's also amazing. I love Carry On films. I mean, I'm quite happy when Christmas comes along. If I'm stuck in bed, spending the day in bed, I'll watch a Carry On film, because they're British classics and should be applauded.
They are.
I mean, poor old Morrissey is stuck in America, where I wouldn't want to live for all the tea in China. And I hope he can get to see all these British things. I love the Britishness about Britain. And I know he told me that he still comes to his place in England. Can't remember the town.
I think near Manchester. I think.
Yes, somewhere. Well, I'm a Londoner, so I mean,
Yeah.
I live
That's
around
miles away. That is.
somewhere up north. So I don't have to, but I don't want to be sounding racist. But he did say a nice thing. He said he put lots of owl boxes up in his garden now, and because he likes owls, he cares about birds. You don't often I mean, the only one who might be the similar perhaps is Sir Brian May, who's very keen on animals and badgers and things, but mostly musicians don't talk about things like this. So the moment he said he hung up owl boxes, he went up quite a few points with me.
Do you mind if I ask you some questions about Bowie?
Of course you can.
So I understand you. I understand you were one of the first people to hear Space Odyssey.
Yeah, I was, only because he was at that time round the corner from me in South Kensington, having a bit of a fling with a girl there. But he came, he called me up and he said, I'm around the corner. I've just written a song and I think it's quite different. I want to come over and play it to you. So he rushed round, literally. So it was within half an hour of writing it, maybe 35 minutes. And he sat down. I was there with the famous rock photographer, Gerard Mankiewicz. And so the two of us were given the first version, the first time, Space Oddity. I don't think anyone realized how iconic it would be, but I used to go with Bowie to the cinema in those days, or we'd watch stuff on the television, like Ken Russell films in black and white about British or composers. And we went to see Clockwork Orange and Space Odyssey 2001. So all of this was kind of going on, which gave Bowie the zeitgeist, and he was bright enough to write something that was topical. The fact, though, that he had this hit, and then it took about another 3 years before he actually had another hit. But the next hit was all, in a way, thanks to the organization of our then manager, who was pretty amazing and handled everything fabulously till about 4.5 years, 5 years, Bowie wanted changes, and that meant lawsuits and things, and that was a sort of sad. But for 5 years nearly, we were like a big family.
Was Bowie the same person as a friend to you as you could see on the stage, or were they two different people?
Well, he was very good at being an actor. An actor he was. You know, that I think that's probably why his band Tin Machine didn't do so well, because after he'd had this huge global success, always playing, you know, Aladdin Sane or Ziggy Stardust or whatever, when he wanted to just go out and play with Tin Machine, and it flopped, even though he was so famous. I know what it's like. You go out on stage and the music takes you anyway to another level. And I found him, yeah, he was different when he was on stage. He was just being professional. I mean, when he was doing the Diamond Dogs shows in America, which sadly never came to England, he was on the road. He did 80 concerts. I don't know how he got through it. He never once gave an unprofessional performance. He might have done a few wacky and weird things off stage, but once the camera or whatever was going, camera or the curtain went up or whatever, he was 100% professional. I think always because he wanted to, I say this in my book, that when I was 13 or 14 and I come very bad with numbers, and I went to see him at his parents' house in Bromley, and they'd gone out somewhere, I think to see his half-brother Terry, who'd had a lobotomy, and I think he committed suicide. Anyway, that's a whole other story. When the parents had gone out, David turned to me and he said, whatever it takes, I want to get out of here. Now, he was living in a tiny little house, the sort of thing you'd see at the end of a row of Coronation Street type houses, although they're very attractive bijou residences now, but I'm talking about then. And so he was very different on stage because he was just being a professional, you know. Occasionally he'd laugh, you know, when on stage. I didn't see so many of his shows because I was doing shows myself, so I wasn't always around in the evenings. But we hung out, him and his then wife Angie and DeFries, our manager, every weekend for a long time. And I mean, he used to come and see me all the time. And I say in my book, I never wanted to be Mrs. Jones or Mrs. Bowie. I can't think of anything worse. Never marry a pop star or a rock star. Not if you're one yourself. It really doesn't work very well. But we always were great friends. I mean, a bit of horizontalism went on, but that's when we were young and, you know, just sort of for the hell of it, something to do, actually. What is the expression? Not mates rates. There is an expression to something to do with mates with benefits or something. Yeah, something like that. But he was actually quite funny when he was at home and being friendly. But if we went to a party with Angie, he'd be much more quiet than Angie, who would, being Americans, as we know, are very loud. She'd go in and take over everything because that's how she was.
So, Dana, to wrap up our interview, we just have one final question. You've met a lot of people, and I'm sure a lot of people who you admired before you met them. Is there anybody left that you still like to meet?
No, not really. I mean, no, no. I can't think of anybody I'd like to meet. Why, have you two got somebody you'd like to meet? Well, you want to meet Morrissey.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Yeah, but yeah.
He was beautifully dressed, by the way.
As always.
I can't remember. Oh, is he always beautifully dressed?
I think so.
He likes how his turnout. No, it was just a really nice jacket with a sort of edging to the lapel bit. He took care of what he was. I mean, it was only tea time in the hotel. He could have slopped down in an old pair of jeans, but I sort of feel he probably doesn't slop around in an old pair of jeans at all, or maybe at home, but I doubt it. I would say he's quite a solitary person too, from what little I heard. Have you interviewed Tris Penner?
No, and actually hadn't heard that name before this conversation, so I'm going to have to look into.
Well, he's done lots of stuff on Bowie. He used to work for Andrew Lloyd Webber for 12 years. I don't know if he probably wouldn't want to talk about Morrissey because he's quite private, but they're in contact all the time. They're old friends, so he probably wouldn't want to. But he doesn't like the modern techno world much either. But he's a record producer, so he's a great guy.
Okay. Dana, thank you so much for doing this. I really do appreciate your time.
When does it go out and where?
So this will go out in mid-September. We can send you all the links, but you can get it on YouTube or on your podcast app, on your phone, on your smart speaker, all that stuff.
Hang on. Podcast app on the phone? You must be joking. I've got one of these things. Well, actually, I've got a little thing. I like them when they had buttons, so you could actually send messages under the table to somebody, like, help get me out of here. I do have one of these, which is bigger, but I'm not in. But yes, send me a link thing that takes me straight through to the thing. Yeah. I think I'm the last person on the planet who has never even put a card into an ATM machine. I'm so non-techno. I have no interest in the modern world.
We can send you a link to the thing. That's no
great,
problem.
and I might be able to work out. But nice to meet you two guys. Sadly, I don't think I've got any gigs up your way in Derby. I don't know if I'm allowed to say things like up north. Somebody might say that's racist.
Oh no, you can say that. Yeah.
Nice to have met you anyway. And
you too.
If you no more questions?
No, all good. Thank you so much for your time.
All right,
yeah.
Well,
it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Peace and love and 5-star hotels.
We're now going to go into recommendations. So if you love Morrissey, you'll love this.
Yes. And you've got one prepared, have you, Christopher?
I have got one prepared this time.
Good.
Yes. Do you want me to do mine first?
Yes, please.
Yep. Okay.
I'll drink my wine and listen.
Okay. So my recommendation is a writer. So they've got a book.
Thank you for clarifying what a writer means.
So have you heard of Arthur Rimbaud?
Yeah. Is it spelled Rimbaud?
Yeah, it's French. He's French.
I don't actually know who he is though.
So Arthur Rimbaud, a French writer, not contemporary, so 100 years or so ago.
Okay.
A really interesting character, and I think there's somebody who I can't remember who who Morrissey said this about, but he said their life was much more interesting than anything they ever wrote.
Anne Sexton, I think.
Is that Anne Sexton?
Or Sylvia Plath.
I think it might have been Sylvia Plath.
Yeah.
It was Sylvia Plath. It wasn't Anne Sexton.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of a little bit how I feel about this person. So I think the story, the sort of story of his life, it's kind of a bit Oscar Wilde as well.
Okay.
So he's sort of but in a weird way, he's the sort of Bosie in that situation, who was Oscar Wilde's younger lover. But in sort of Arthur Rimbaud's world, he's the genius. He wrote lots and lots up until he was about 18. Then he never wrote again. So all of his work is sort of from when he was that age, but he still studied and he's sort of from northwest, sort of northeastern France. Had a really interesting life, but sort of did everything to the full. Like a lot of people maybe write their life, but he lived his life quite a lot. So I think there's a lot of similarities between his relationship with Valerie, who was another writer, and sort of the Oscar Wilde situation with Bosie. So some really interesting work that he's got. So one of his most famous works is A Season in Hell, which is quite well studied. Have you heard of that? A Season in Hell, which has been translated into English. But there's also a Henry Miller, who was another American writer. He actually did a study or an essay based on Arthur Rimbaud, which is really interesting, called Time of the Assassins, which I've read.
Okay.
So I think there's lots of similarities there. And then it just has some very witty lines that are translated into English. So I think one of them that I think is quite Morrissey-esque is sort of I was as scared as 36 million newborn poodle dogs. So it's quite like, it's almost, a bit sort of tongue in cheek and So that's my recommendation. So I think it's worth. I think the Henry Miller essay about Arthur Rimbaud called "Time of the Assassins" is pretty good read.
So that's a good place to start. And then which of Rimbaud's texts would you suggest to read?
A Season in Hell.
Season in Hell.
Yeah, which was about his sort of bit of an autobiography.
Okay.
Really. And then after being 18, he stopped writing for some reason and then just went and travelled.
All right for some, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's interesting that someone so young is still studied and seen as sort of such a hero in France and big in America as well.
And then some people, I try to write fiction sometimes, and some people can spend their whole lives. They might publish their book at 70 and it's kind of okay. He's done this amazing work before the age of 18.
Yeah.
Genius could strike at any time, I suppose. Well, that does sound interesting, and I will look up. But now next time someone says Arthur Rimbaud, I'll at least have some what do you call the notes? Spark Notes. I think that's a website that summarizes stuff. I'll have them in my head.
Don't know what you're talking about, George.
Sorry, that's from the days when I used to cheat on essays. Not really. Okay, well, my recommendation is a bit of a wild card because I'm struggling to find a link between Morrissey and this stuff.
That is the point.
I know, but we have done this so many times. There is a limit to the number of things that I can link in my life that I can link to Morrissey, if you can believe it. Now, the reason why I am suggesting this is because I think that Morrissey and Smith's fans have a peculiar sense of humour, and they see the humour in dark things, and they see the humour in weird people and outsiders, strange people. So recently, thanks to my friend Grace, who put me onto it, I've discovered this sitcom called Kath and Kim. And we watched a few episodes.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, you may have noticed earlier in the show, I said, it's not, it's different, it's unusual. I just wanted to say it because it's in my head, because that is kind of the catchphrase of the show. So Kath is a mum. They live in Australia. Kath is a mum. She's supposed to be
it was an Australian accent, was it?
Kath is a mum. She's supposed to be about 50, and Kim, her daughter, is presumably about 25 or 30. They're actually the same age in real life, but it's all the makeup and wigs and stuff. Kim lives with her mum. They've got a friend called Sharon who's a bit dumpy and, not massively physically attractive, and she struggles to get partners and stuff. You've got Kel, who is Kim's partner, and Kim, oh God.
You're confusing me now.
There's a variety of characters in this program, and it's a very peculiar sense of humor, and it's a study. It's kind of a study in strange people and how strange families work together, and Australia, not a country that I don't know a lot about, but I feel like I'm learning about it through this show. Really, really really funny lines, funny kind of catchphrases a bit. Matt Lucas from Little Britain appears in one of the episodes in drag as a plus size catalogue model who thinks she's absolutely beautiful.
Matt Lucas is beautiful.
He is. Now, if you like the sitcom 90 Nights, which I absolutely adore from the BBC in the 2000s, if you like 90 Night, you'll love Kath and Kim. Kath and Kim has been around for about 20 years now, I think. I've only just sort of got onto it, but it's on Netflix. And I think if you have a strange sense of humour, if people say to you, you've got a weird sense of humour, then I think you're going to like Kath and Kim. I mean, you saw some of it at your house. What did you think of it?
Yeah, and I agree. It is a bit 90 Night, a bit sort of left of field. It's not sort of a classic comedy that you'd have anywhere, but it's quite niche. Yeah, and quite nice to see that sort of comedy coming out of somewhere that's, because it's normally kind of British thing to have that weird comedy, but it's Australian, and that's great too. So yeah, I enjoyed watching it with you.
It's actually the biggest, the channel that made it in Australia, I think, is ABC. It was to this day their biggest ever syndicated export. It went all over the world. I think the people who play Kath and Kim are really quite rich, in the same way that happened with Seinfeld.
Yeah.
You know, Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld, massively rich because of this syndication. People will watch it all around the world. And also, I should say, it's got quite a big gay following. There are certain shows, 90 Night, Kath and Kim, absolutely fabulous. For some reason, gay people just love them. We don't know why.
You always bring it back to the gay stuff, don't you? It's not.
Well, I think it's an important part of life. Lots of people are gay.
Yeah, that's true.
So check it out. It's on Netflix. I think you'll really like it. And I'm going to check out Arthur. Is it Rimbaud? Is that how you say it? Rimbaud. I'll check out Arthur
Rimbaud.
Rimbaud.
But that's more of a sort of guy in a forest with a six-pack, isn't it?
So that about wraps us up for this episode of Morrissey and Wine.
It's gone quick, hasn't it, that one?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody at home, for joining us. I hope you've been enjoying a glass of wine with us. If you have any recommendations for a wine that we should try, as long as it's around the £10 mark, we're game.
Yeah, this one, Gary, is really good. It's nice.
Yes.
It's a bit like Ribena. That's why I've almost finished it, and I probably can't walk home now. So lovely. I like Ribena, so.
That's Gary, our producer. Thanks for the wine, Gary. Now, Gary puts a lot of work into his podcast. Thank you for everything that you do. Gary is producing other people's podcasts as well. And if you have one, or you know someone who's got a podcast and they want to take it to the next level, you can visit redeye.co.uk and get in touch with Gary. You absolutely should. So we need to go and record off mic now.
Ooh.
So that's our Patreon exclusive program episode. Shouldn't say program, should just be old fashioned, but we'll go and do that. We'll say adieu to you. Thank you for joining us once again on Morrissey and Wine, and we'll see you next month. Cheers. Cheers. You enjoying that wine?
Yeah. Why?
Today. I like mine.
Why do you think I'm getting drunk? Was that okay?